Hello and welcome to No Sevens Dice Club College Football Edition. Well, we are now officially into December, which means we're doing conference championships. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing some bowl picks. And don't forget about my Amazon $50 gift card challenge that I have for you guys for the bowl game challenge, where you can win $50 for free. Only thing you got to do is just pick all the right winners and email it to me at no7sdiceclub@gmail.com. Before December 18th is the deadline, and you have to be a subscriber. So you're going to pick all the bowl games. It's just going to be straight up picks, and you're going to decide on who's going to be the winner of that game. No point spreads, just straight up picks, and you have to when in that pick, you have to decide who's going to be the national, who's going to be playing in the national championship, and who's going to be and what the points are going to be for each team that playing in the national championship, and what the final total score will be. We'll go more into that, and next Sunday is when I'll do the full rules breakdown of the $50 gift card challenge. But that's kind of a highlight of it. But let's go ahead and get into this week's challenges. So I had a couple emails on some games, so I included 5 games. If it was me, I'd probably do about 2 or 3 games, because a lot of these games are going to be very close with the point spreads. All right, let's take a look, because this is one of my emails. We have Oregon versus Utah playing out there in Levi Stadium for the Pac-12 championship. And Oregon lost, as we know, to Arizona State University. They kind of got lost in the desert. A huge upset. Utah is playing for playoff implications. They are next in line. The only thing that's scary about Utah is that they're ranked number 5. And if you guys have been following me, we all know the death curse of the number 5 spot in the polls. It's always been the kiss of death. And it looks like this might be the kiss of death for Utah again. Oregon is really good. They love nothing more to be the spoiler in this game. Utah is favored by 6.5 points. Utah does have a great dominant defense. Their offense is starting to finally come along. They struggled a little bit against the Colorado team at first in last week's game, but then they just poured it on in the second half and just took care of business. This game is going to be very close. You're going to have a very dominant defense from Utah, and you're going to have a very good offense from Oregon. Justin Herbert's really good. I see this game almost being a coin flip. 6.5 points going to Utah. That's quite a bit high. I have a feeling that that Utah is going to win this game, but they're only going to win it by a point or 2, if that. So I'm going to take, and I want to say Utah is going to win this, but I have a feeling Oregon's going to be able to cover this spread. So I'm going to take Oregon plus 6.5 on this one. And I've been going back and forth on this the whole entire time, trying to figure out which team I like better on that point spread. But I think overall, I'm just going to take Oregon. It's going to cover the point spread, but I think Utah is going to win the game. And I think it's going to come down to probably a special teams play or something at the end of the game. An extra field goal. Something at the end. I think whoever possesses the ball last is going to win that game. A lot of emotions are going to be played in that game. So we're going to check. It's just going to be interesting to see how it goes. But I'm going to take Oregon plus 6.5. All right, next game. As we all know, a couple of weeks ago, Baylor was playing. Oklahoma went to Baylor. Baylor had a 28-point lead and then just completely lost it. They just celebrated too early. They lost everything. So Baylor's looking for a revenge in this game. I think Baylor has something to prove. Oklahoma is playing for a chance to get into the playoff race, because I think they're going to probably be ranked number 6 going into this week's rankings with the College Football Committee. And Baylor has something to prove after they lost. You know, they had a chance to go play for, the playoffs and everything else. But when they lost, it set them back. And so, this game was ultra close the last time. Oklahoma's minus 9.5 points. So I'm going to take Baylor in the revenge. And I think Baylor might actually beat Oklahoma in this game. This is going to be another very close game. I think it's going to be decided by 3 or 4 points. So I'm going to take Baylor plus 9.5 points. I think that 9.5 points is too much. If this was Oklahoma minus 3, I would take Oklahoma, but 9.5 points is too much. I think Baylor's going to come in. They're going to play really angry in this game. And I think that they are going to show that they deserve to have that win that was stolen from them when they were up by 28 points. I think they learned their lessons from their lesson on how to finish and close out the game, and they will not let that happen to them again. All right. Bring that back into view for you guys. Awesome. All right, next game, Georgia versus LSU. If you guys watched or seen the highlights of what was going on, Georgia's second wide receiver, the first wide receiver, he's out. I can't remember his name. He was out of the Georgia Tech game too. But the second one, he got into a huge fist fight in the game, lost his cool, so he's going to be out. So they're already down their number 1 and number 2 wide receivers in this game. He was ejected from the game for fist fighting. He will not be playing in the first half of this game against LSU. He, in fact, as violent as that fight was, and him slamming that head up the opponent's head into the brick wall, was pretty violent. Even though he still had a helmet, I don't even think he should even be. I think he should be kicked off the football team. And he shouldn't be allowed to play football anymore. If you get that emotional about a football game where you're winning that much, and you have that much of a violent streak, you should not be on the team to hurt your team that bad. But that's just me. He shouldn't be playing. He should not even be playing in college football anymore. He should be dismissed from the team altogether. That's just my opinion. Swift was injured for Georgia. Kirby Smart said that he's going to be back. And he'd be ready to go. He's still nursing that shoulder. Was injured pretty badly, but he sat out the rest of the game. He really did not need to be in the rest of the game because Georgia had a pretty good handle on Georgia Tech. But he said that he's going to be back. They're down a couple of key players on offense already, and we don't know how good that running back, Swift is going to be, but. So Georgia is going to be down some players. LSU came out, as I told you guys, are going to play very pissed off against Texas A&M, and that's how they played, and they won 50-7 in that game. They had something to prove about last year. LSU really does not have too many weaknesses in their team. Their defense is finally all healthy. They've been. The month of November, they've been doing patchwork trying to get that defense to get back to normal. Well, their defense is 100% healthy now. They're all playing on the same level. They're all swarming to the ball now. They're all playing on that extra level that they need to play. LSU, when they go to the SEC championship, they've only lost one SEC championship in the past 20 years that they've been to. They've been to, I think, 8 or 9. In the past 20 years, they've only lost to one championship, one SEC championship, and that was to Georgia in 2005. The rest of the time, they've always won, hands down. Last time LSU and Georgia met was last year when Georgia went to LSU, and they beat them. I think it was 35-17. Handled business really well. I think LSU is minus 6.5. LSU's offense can outscore Georgia anytime. Georgia has the best defense in the SEC. They don't have the best defensive line. They have a good secondary, but their defensive line is second to Auburn. LSU's offensive line. The average offensive lineman weighs about 325 pounds and is about 6'4", 6'5" on average. That's average. That's an NFL offensive line pretty much. I think that LSU's offensive line is going to be able to handle Georgia's defensive line, and LSU's going to be running those 5 wide receivers like they always do. And I think LSU can just simply outscore Georgia. If it came down to a scoring, to go point for point, LSU is going to outscore Georgia, especially in the first half. I see LSU probably scoring about 30 points. Georgia probably scoring about 10 points in the first half. It's going to be pretty much like what you saw LSU versus Alabama when it was 33 to I think it was 14, something like that, going into half. I expect to see that. The second half is going to make the difference, but I'm going to take LSU plus 6.5. Minus 6.5 on this, because I think LSU is just going to simply outscore Georgia if it ever comes down into that. I think Joe Burrow and his cast of wide receivers and his talent are just going to be too much for Georgia's defense to handle. And then the next game we're going to talk about is Virginia at Clemson. This is probably one of the highest point spreads I've seen. But I really have not followed the ACC too much for their championship games. But Clemson is minus 28.5 points. And then I'm expecting that to go up even more. I'm expecting it probably to start jumping up to probably about 30 points, if not by the end of it. You can even go ahead and make put this on a money line pick and take Clemson, because Clemson's probably going to win this game, outright. There's no denying it. And Clemson already knows that if they lose this game, that they're out of the college football playoffs. There is no redemption for this. They're just going to fall completely off the map. Virginia, as you know, they've been struggling all year long. They're playing at Clemson. There's really not much to dissect in this game. We already know that Clemson's going to win this game. Are they going to cover to 28.5 points? I think so. I think Virginia is going to score about 14, 17 points. Clemson's probably going to score about 45 to 50 points in this game easily. Maybe 55 points. So I'm going to take Clemson minus the 28.5 points. If this goes up above 30, I would lean more towards Virginia. But for right now, with the 28.5 points, I'm going to take Clemson, because they know that if they lose this game, they're out of the college football playoffs. And they're not going to, let this trip them up, so that way they have to sit on the sidelines and watch somebody else take their spot for them. So I'm going to take Clemson minus 20.5 points. They're definitely going to win this game. But if Virginia, if Clemson goes up to more than 30 points, I'll lean more towards Virginia, because, like I said, Virginia's going to score at least probably 10 to 14 points in this game. But right now, I'll just take Clemson minus 28.5 points. Can we see that? All right, good deal. All right, next one is an email from me. The two emails I received was Oregon and Ohio State, I'm sorry. Looking at two different things here. Oregon and Ohio State were my two emails this week. So Ohio State's minus 16.5 at Wisconsin. We all know the game that was played when Wisconsin, I think, was number 5, and that was the start of the death curse of the number 5 spot. Wisconsin was number 5 when they went into Ohio State and just got drummed the whole entire way. I think it was 38-7 or 38-14 or something like that. Ohio State just manhandled them. As we all know, Wisconsin has a great running attack. That's how they, that's their bread and butter. They really don't throw the ball that much. They are a ground and pound, run it down your throat team. Wisconsin also has a really good defense. Ohio State, you can start seeing some of their weaknesses that they have. They are a very well-disciplined team. They do make mistakes. They're not what the broadcasters are making them out to be, with this, legendary team that's unstoppable and, just hyping them up. Ohio State does make mistakes. And, with Justin Fields and everybody else, they do make mistakes. But in order to beat Ohio State, what I'm watching now for the past 2 games is that you have to play mistake-free football. And is Wisconsin going to be able to do that to upset Ohio State? I don't think they will. Ohio State's defense is built to stop the run. The only way you're going to beat Ohio State is to throw the ball. Their corners are talented, but they're not shut down corners. Their defensive line is the best in the nation. I'll give you that. With Chase Young and the rest of his company that he has on the defensive line. They are built to stop the run. That's the reason why Wisconsin is not going to win this game unless it's some kind of major upset. Ohio State's going to cover the point spread. I'm going to take Ohio State minus 16.5. If Ohio State goes minus 20, then I'll lean more towards Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's going to score at least 14 points on this. Their defense is going to keep them in for the first and second quarter. Wisconsin has to be physical, has to match the game, the intensity level that Ohio State's going to bring. And they can't rely on just the running game. They have to be a throwing team. They have to balance this offense. But Ohio State's I think Ohio State's going to handle this. Ohio State does not need to win this game to go in. They're already in no matter what, just like LSU. They're already in also. But I am going to take Ohio State minus 16.5. And like I said, if this point spread creeps up to 20 plus, then I'll lean more towards Wisconsin. But for right now, Ohio State minus 16.5 is where I'm going with. And also, I wanted to share with all the people who's been following me throughout the weeks. I finished my season at 24 wins, 11 losses, and 1 push. So that 1 push was the Ole Miss LSU game. I did really well. I finished the season with a 70% win percentage, so not too bad. And also for my bully picks that I always picked for you guys, I went 75-3. That's right. I said that correctly. 75 wins, 3 losses on my bully picks of all the teams I picked. So not too shabby. 75-3 was my record for the bully picks. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to get with you next Sunday and let you know all about the free Amazon $50 gift card. I'm going to go over all the rules. And these are the teams I like. These are the teams who I'm going to go with. But you guys are free to make your choices however you want to. I wish you guys lots of luck. I hope you guys enjoy this Saturday coming. Going to be some really good football games. Make sure you guys get some good barbecue, plenty of cold beer, and relax. And hopefully you guys can make some money on your sports betting. And I will talk to you guys next Sunday when we go over the Amazon $50 gift card challenge all in depth. I have it all laid out how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to write it all down on the board for you guys so that way you guys can see it while I'm reading it to you guys. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for a great season. And, here we go for the month of December, going into January, and all the bowl games coming up. But thank you guys for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys later.